Death battle. Batman versus Spider-Man. Who will win? This is another reaction video I'm doing. You want to see 4 videos in one. I'm gonna watch 4 different death battles. Well, 3 of them are death battles. One of them is sort of like a death battle, so I still count it as one. It said it's called Battle Royale YouTuber, I think.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. The Dark Knight is a master of the shadows, using
I hope I don't get in trouble for this.
the streets of Gotham City. You know you're doing something right when
I am reacting to these videos,
after his parents were murdered by a common
so I don't think I will get in trouble.
His life to fighting the criminal underworld. He achieved 12 master degrees, studied 127 martial arts, and perfected escape artistry. Given enough time, he can escape any conceivable trap. Batman has pushed himself to the limits of the human body. He can bench press 1,000 pounds and has great aim and reflexes. The Batsuit was designed to be the ultimate flexible combat armor. While the pointy ears are a bit much for me, the armor can stop knives and gunfire. His memory cloth cape can be used as a glider, and the entire suit is lined with a 200,000-volt electrode network. I guess when you're a billionaire, you can afford to turn yourself into a frickin' human taser. The gadgets from Wayne's never-ending films don't stop there.
Human taser. Imagine that was somebody's name. The human taser. Taser. Yeah.
Everything. Grappling hook, explosives, beer. Maybe not that last one, but mine would. Notable gadgets include a gas mask, tear gas, smoke pellets, a kryptonite ring, remote detonated plastic explosives, and his trademark grapple gun.
Of course, Batman keeps kryptonite on just in case the Superman ever goes rogue, which, how often does that happen? I'm gonna assume pretty often.
Despite having the build of an Olympic athlete, the Cape Crusader's greatest feats are attributed to his detective skills. He can anticipate attacks through muscle movement and memorize the smallest details, even the shape of a cheek he's punched. And while Batman is only human, his achievements stand among
assume
gods.
someone's fighting someone by a muscle away? That just doesn't make sense. More than once in different timelines and different universes. Or in other words, different Earths.
His parents were killed in front of him as a child. He uses his money to beat the shit out of people dressed as a giant bat and keeps employing 12-year-old sidekicks. Yeah, he's clearly not all there. But he is a survivor. He endured being broken in half, fighting the other members of the Justice League, complete disintegration, and being stranded in the past as a living time bomb of galactic destruction. Wait, what? Yet he somehow pulled through every time. Why? Because he's the goddamn Batman!
I'm Batman.
Where are you?
I'm Batman. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man here.
Streets of New York City. Once Peter Parker was a wimpy nerd with no friends. Then he got bit by a radioactive spider that gave him weird bug powers. And now he's a radioactive superhero with no friends. Though after some
friends, you moron.
he finally got himself laid. A lot, actually. A clever photographer and science major, Spider-Man is not only
the only one he got laid with was Mary Jane. Ayo.
Using these skills, he created 2 wrist-mounted web shooters, which let him swing around the city. You know, if he was
Now let's check out the Sam Raimi film, which he has organic web shooters instead of the mechanical.
First, it's not their butt. It comes out of Spider-Man, Spider-Man, grab some webs like a spider can.
This guy sounds like a prick.
Hold a large amount of pressurized web fluid.
To restrain the Hulk?
I'll be here all week. And features a rotating carousel to replace the empty ones. His spider powers give him superhuman strength, speed, agility, and durability. He can run up to 200 miles per hour, lift over 10 tons, and take a friggin' grenade to the face. He can even knock a dinosaur out cold with a single punch. Suck it, Denver! Also, by altering his body's electron attraction, Spider-Man can crawl along any surface. But his most advantageous power is the spider sense. It acts kind of like a warning signal, like caller ID when your ex-wife's calling for alimony. Actually, the spider sense is much more than a simple alarm. It gives Peter omnipresent detection of his surroundings. This is how he swings through New York without looking where he shoots his webs. And unlike his human senses, it is not affected by gases and toxins unless specifically tailored to the spider sense itself. However, it's up to Spider-Man to recognize and react to its warnings, so it can be tricked if he doesn't think he's in danger. Still, paired with his speed, Spider-Man is almost untouchable. He can even dodge automatic fire. His unique martial art, the Way of the Spider, utilizes the spider sense to its fullest. Spider-Man can go toe-to-toe with the most advanced masters of combat, even while blindfolded. No wonder other superheroes don't like this guy. I mean, the friggin' spider sense does everything for him. Speaking of which, somehow Spider-Man once tried to join the Justice League, but was rejected by Batman. Ouch. I bet he wishes he could fight old bats in a battle to the death. Oh, wait! For all his amazing powers, Spider-Man is not invincible. His bright and colorful costume makes stealth difficult, his durability has limits, and the oddly specific ethyl chloride pesticide is his kryptonite. Also, any enemy with speed comparable to his can outmatch his spider sense. Still, if those are his only limitations, how come sometimes he gets shot by a stray bullet? Lazy writing.
Wait! Who are you?
You know who I am.
I do.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. All right, the combatants are set. Let's end this debate once and for all. It's time for a commercial break. Commercial break! Audible doc.
Let's skip forward to this.
But right now, it's time for a death battle!
You got a black belt and stupid if you think you're gonna beat me.
Fight!
Come on, Spidey.
Just not your day.
Smoke bomb.
Yeah.
Oh! God damn. Yeah, they ain't gonna do jack shit. Spider sense tingling. It's the Fury. Holy shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Ouch. Right back at you.
Having fun yet?
Wait,
It's all or nothing.
oh my god. That is fucking brutal.
Web swing.
God damn.
Damn, that was brutal! Show it again! Despite Batman possessing more skill and knowledge, Spider-Man's abilities ultimately overpowered his arsenal. To be fair, Bats might have been able to deal with Spidey's strength and speed, but that damn spider sense changes everything. Right, the spider sense counters surprise and stealth, Batman's most valuable weapons. But how could Batman lose to a wimpy spider nerd when he defeated the entire Justice League on his own? Many of Batman's greatest achievements have required weeks or months of preparation and planning, which can hardly be compared to the one-on-one confrontation of a death battle. Keep in mind, if we had given Batman prep time, the same would be done for Spider-Man. And all of Wayne's money and the Commissioner's men couldn't put Batman together again. The winner is Spider-Man.
Next death battle. This time Batman Beyond versus Spider-Man 2099.
The future. Everyone wants to see it, and why not? It has robots, flying cars, and of course, superheroes. Yeah, the future still has those, but they're even cooler because of all the sweet gadgets. Like Terry McGinnis, the Batman Beyond. And Miguel O'Hara, the Spider-Man from 2099. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick. And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. Terry McGinnis was your average futuristic high school student. He went to future raves, complained about future problems, had a future girlfriend, yeah, you know, the usual. Until one fateful day when Terry got into a fight with a group of jokers.
What's he got against comedians?
No, a gang called the Jokers. You know, like the Joker?
Ah, but with a Z, because it's the future.
Well, naturally. After possibly
That's
the most
weird.
dangerous
Joker's with a
motorcycle chase
Z.
ever put
That's
on
just weird.
television,
That's cool, he's got a helmet.
Terry found himself inside an isolated mansion owned by an elderly billionaire named Bruce Wayne. Here, he stumbled upon the most important revelation in his life.
Bruce Wayne is Batman! Oh, what a surprise! Well, more like he was Batman. He retired from crime fighting years ago, because, you know, age is a bitch.
Wait a minute, after decades of secrecy, a punk teenager just happens to stumble into the Batcave? For crying out loud, if he'd found my secret lair, he'd have been vaporized on the spot.
Yeah! Anyway, Terry's roller coaster of a day still wasn't over. Turns out his dad got murdered.
Dad?
Bummer. So he did what any emotionally charged teen who wants to avenge their dad would do. He stole a bat suit.
But not the old cape and cowl of yesteryear. This was the latest and most advanced bat suit. Terry McGinnis didn't just become the all-new Batman.
I will admit, I like that bat suit better than the cape and cowl a little
What would
bit.
happen if Batman got a hold of an Iron Man suit? It's basically that. And damn, he looks friggin' rad.
The Batsuit's nanotechnology greatly enhances his strength and provides several thin yet strong layers of ballistic and environmental protection.
And he can fly. He can soar faster than a speeding future car, and he's really nimble in the air. Plus, he can always give his punches and kicks a literal rocket boost.
The suit sports over 24 other gadgets for combat and espionage. He has a wrist-mounted grappling hook that can extend over 50 feet. There's a cloaking device, a lock decoder, finger microphones, climbing claws, an underwater breather, thermal and binocular vision, extendable spikes on his arms, flashbang grenades, triple-weighted bolas, a buzzsaw, and even retractable tweezers.
Splinters are no laughing matter. And don't
They
forget
are
all
not.
those sweet, sweet batarangs. These new age ninja stars are even sharper and more compact than before, and they come in a variety of delightful flavors, like explosive, ensnaring, and electrifying. Terry's got a solid throwing arm and can even disarm multiple opponents with a single shot. But if he's feeling a bit lazy, he can always just use his arm launchers to fire batarang discs.
Also, when anyone gets in too close, the whole suit can act like a man-sized taser. The electric shock is strong enough to stun people spliced with animal DNA and short out heavy machinery.
But the tools don't make the man, Batman. Terry's a master martial artist with plenty of training from legends like former Robin Dick Grayson, totally real ninja Kairi Tanaga, and the former Dark Knight himself. Once he got over the
That Joker got hit in the face with a king.
Bruce Wayne doesn't just serve as Terry's mentor. He's also a constant source of advice and information on the go through his direct link to the Batsuit from the Batcave.
Good thing, too, since Terry's not exactly the world's greatest detective. At least not compared to the old man.
Bruce is extremely intelligent and an expert analyst. Plus, the Batcave has some very impressive technology. Not
Why
only
is
does
the
it host one of the most
Batmobile gets
powerful
an upgrade
supercomputers on the
in this
planet,
new
it's
Batman
also
suit, but
completely
yet
dependent on its own hydroelectric
the
power
Batcave
supply
looks
and
exactly
isolated
the
network.
same a little bit.
Still, I don't care who Bruce used to be.
Well, the
Having an
computer's
old
been
guy barking
upgraded.
orders in your ear sounds annoying. Like your dad's always looking over your shoulder. Or at least I imagine, because I didn't have one.
Well, Terry is Bruce Wayne's secret son.
What?
In an effort to ensure there would always be a Batman, government boogie woman Amanda Waller had secretly overwritten Warren McGinnis' reproductive DNA with that of Bruce Wayne's.
Like, he was just blasting Wayne babies? It's like all the fun, but you could get out of any child support case.
Wait, would that
And
mean
bonus, I
Terry's
guess Terry's
brother
father
be Bruce
technically
Wayne's
wasn't
kid
murdered.
too?
Good
Because
for
they
him.
both have black
Also,
hair.
he's got all the benefits from Bruce's kick-ass genes.
Even before going through combat training, Terry was a skilled fighter, strong enough to send opponents flying with a single punch.
In the suit, he's strong enough to lift large I-beams and this giant boulder.
He's even survived getting his leg trapped under Bruce Wayne's trophy penny.
What's so special about a penny?
Just look at it.
Holy colossal currency, Batman!
The penny's diameter is easily 20 feet wide and is frequently dated from the 1940s. This means
Why
the penny
would
is likely
Batman still
composed
have a
of
giant
bronze
penny
and
in
weighs
the
around
Batcave?
166 tons.
That's more than enough to crush all the bones in
Why
your
would
foot.
he?
But not Terry. He was up and at 'em like nothing happened. I mean, this guy guy's tough enough to take a missile to the face and then fall hundreds of stories, and all he got out of it was a couple broken ribs. What's a penny as heavy as 33 monster trucks gonna do?
He's quick enough to dodge gunfire, skilled enough to defeat lizard people and the Justice Lords. In a newer suit, he could fire concussive pulse blasts and even outrace an intercontinental missile, which can reach speeds of up to 15,000 miles per hour. That's over 19 times the speed of sound.
He's still no Bruce Wayne, though. He's kind of a punk and doesn't have the amazing smarts or expertise of Batman Classic.
You don't quite have his magnificent brain, for instance. You do have his heart, though.
Maybe not, but he has accomplished feats equal to his predecessor, like fighting Superman and ending the Joker threat once and for all. Clearly, Terry McGinnis has more than earned the title of Batman.
You're pretty strong for some clown who thinks he's Batman. I am Batman.
There's the line!
So, here's an unfortunate spoiler. The year 2099 kinda sucks.
Plagued by a massive civil war between humans and mutants, the world fell into a dystopian ruin of violence and anarchy. The heroic age had come to an end.
But some people still wanted a sequel.
Enter Miguel O'Hara, a child prodigy turned super genius with a penchant for genetic tinkering.
Miguel's skills landed him a job at one of the biggest companies in the world, Alchemax, where he got to work trying to
was married?
rebuild one of the greatest heroes of all time, Spider-Man.
Specifically, he attempted to replicate the DNA of Peter Parker, the original Spider-Man. But like most of the 21st century superheroes, not much remained of Parker outside of stories and legend. Miguel had to build his experiment from scratch, starting with a single, simple spider.
Unfortunately, Alchemax didn't have the greatest job security. After a lot of bad blood and some spilled blood, Miguel wound up accidentally getting a dose of his own creepy crawly project.
Transforming him into the Spider-Man of 2099.
What a
But future
badass
Spider-Man
suit,
isn't
though.
quite the same as your grandpappy's Spidey.
That's right, apart from the superhuman strength, speed, durability, and improved healing, Miguel's powers are entirely different. Unlike Parker, he can't actually stick to any surface. He can still wall crawl, though, using retractable talons on his fingers and toes, which also make for fairly deadly weapons in a fight.
And he's got fangs like a vampire. If he bites you, he can inject a venom that can paralyze your whole body almost instantly. Also, he may
Now,
not
how
have
long does the
Petey's
venom
trusty
last,
spider
though?
sense, but his sense of sight, smell, and hearing are superfied. He can hear noises from miles away, see in the dark, and make out far-off and fast-moving objects with ease.
In fact, his senses are so acute, he wears tinted glasses to keep daylight from hurting his eyes.
And like any Spider-Man, he can shoot webs from his hands.
Miguel doesn't need compact web shooter devices on his wrist, but he actually has organic spinnerets in his arms, which create and release thick, durable strings of webbing. Because they're natural, these strings are chemically identical to spider silk, with a tensile strength similar to steel.
Ew! Okay, the original Spider-Man always kind of grossed me out, but this guy's powers are disgusting.
I think Miguel would agree with you.
Well, yeah, one day he's just your average dweeb doing sciencey stuff like you, and the next he's got big lumps in his arms which shoot sticky stuff. Who wouldn't be weirded out?
Miguel saw his newfound power as a curse, a blight which turned him into an inhuman freak of nature.
But that didn't stop him from fighting crime, complete with his own Spidey suit.
His original costume was made from unstable molecules, allowing the use of his talons without tearing the fabric. He also wears a web-like cape made of light bite, which lets him glide through the air.
Oh, Light Bright! I remember that. Man, do they still have that in the future? And did they find a way to stop you losing those little pegs?
Light bite.
Yeah, whatever. The suit looks pretty cool, so I hate to spoil the mood, but it's actually just a run-of-the-mill costume from a Day of the Dead festival. No, really.
Though after meeting the present-day Peter Parker, Miguel received a much-needed upgrade. His new suit contained synthesized unstable molecule fabric mixed with Kevlar, greatly improving his defense.
This suit can survive a shot from a howitzer artillery cannon. A common M777 military howitzer fires 92-pound shells at 2,200 feet per second. That hits with over 100 tons of force.
Miguel's even taken a hit from the Thing, a hit which shattered a tempered glass window and sent Miguel flying over 2,000 feet.
And the new suit has explosives, hologram projectors,
I want to say
infrared
shock
scanning,
means shit
and it's
in
even got wings
2099's
and rocket
timeline.
boosters on the feet. Wait, that sounds familiar.
Miguel may be a genius, but he's at his best when he's working with his holographic assistant, Lila, or the Y-rate lifeform approximation.
She's basically like the future Alexa with a bunch of extra features. She keeps track of Miguel's life signs and surroundings. With Lila's scanners and his super senses, anyone would have a hard time trying to sneak up on future Spidey.
While Lila was originally built as a home appliance, she can be stored on Miguel's portable communicator. She can act as an onboard lie detector and do advanced calculations
Onboard
to the 20th
lie
decimal in a
detector,
millisecond,
cool.
which is flippin' amazing.
Fun fact, Lila's appearance was based on Marilyn Monroe.
Never heard of her.
Not that anybody in 2099 seems to know who Marilyn Monroe was. Okay, seriously, how did they lose so much information in less than 100 years? Remember, kids, always back up your files. It'll prevent the apocalypse.
Well, lucky for them, Miguel got over his emo phase and started setting the future back on track. And he had the skills to do it.
He's quick enough to dodge gunfire, tough enough to take a shotgun blast to the chest, resilient enough to tank electric shocks, and strong enough to rip a 20-ton turret off a tank.
More than that, he helped another Spider-Man keep this giant building piece in place. What even is that?
Likely some sort of antenna, but it also resembles the mooring mast atop the Empire State Building.
Back when everybody thought Zeppelins were the hot new thing, because who doesn't like riding a giant flammable balloon full of explosive gas? Sign me up!
Assuming it's composed of steel and roughly estimating its size compared to the Spider-Man on the roof, then comparing the Empire State Building's mooring mast, this should weigh, at most, 200 tons.
So basically, Miguel's a badass, and he proved it in the most epic way possible. After rebuilding the world with Captain America, Miguel inherited the most legendary weapon of them all, Mjolnir.
Although Thor's hammer didn't actually grant him its warrior powers, Miguel didn't use it as a weapon, but as proof of his authority. A literal symbol of the societal weight he alone could carry. With his dominance asserted, Miguel created the utopian future a person could only dream of.
And you thought Peter Parker was cool. This Spider-Man is at the top.
I love Shattered Dimensions.
Spider-Man of the year 2099.
That's me, ready to save the universe and looking good while doing it.
All right, the combatants are set. Let's end this debate once and for all.
But first, the future is now in the form of Blue Apron.
Keep an eye out. I've been seeing some odd reports regarding this part of the city.
Hey, Bozo! I was brooding there. Who the shock are you?
Heh.
Right back at you, fatty.
Daddy, I see what you did there.
Hey, Lila, give me a reading on this vampire guy, yeah?
Of course, Miguel. I can't identify his tech or fighting style, but I can try hacking his suit.
He's too comfortable in the air. Try a different approach. Get to ground level.
I can't move. Damn, that hurt.
Something's trying to hack your suit. Our new friend, no doubt.
How's the hack going?
Nowhere fast.
Get in close and finish this quick.
No problem. Can my fangs pierce his suit?
I think so.
Then I'll finish this myself. Lila! Lila!
Oh god.
Problem solved.
I guess that's one way to do it.
That was just fucking brutal.
I'll never get tired of seeing people blow up. It's always such a blast.
Thanks to Bruce's counsel,
Yeah,
Terry
damn.
uses flashbang to take advantage of Miguel's sensitive eyesight, and his electric shock that can short out large machinery to deal with Lila.
Yeah, unlike Bruce, the poor girl wasn't really built for combat. And while her hacking skills were top-notch, the isolated Batcave had the defenses to hold her off.
Even still, Terry's stats edged out Miguel's in more ways than one.
When it came to maneuverability and durability, they were mostly even. Both could dodge bullets and weave through the air. Both could survive heavy ballistic hits. But unlike Terry, Miguel's never outraced anything faster than a Mark 19 ballistic missile.
For physical strength, Terry had him beat too. Recall that boulder that he lifted underwater. This took place in Superman's Fortress of Solitude near the Arctic, so the boulder was likely composed of sedimentary dark limestone, the most common rock type around that location. So we compared Terry's height to the boulder, applied the density for limestone, and subtracted the weight reduced by underwater buoyancy, to find the boulder's weight to be 192 tons.
And he tossed it aside like it was nothing. Terry's peak strength in the batsuit has to be more than 200 tons.
Assuming Miguel applied his fair share when holding up that antenna, his best strength feat we know of is at max 100 tons.
But he's a Spider-Man. Spider-Man can lift more than that, right?
Not usually. Technically, Miguel's powers are so different from Peter's that we shouldn't really scale him to other Spider-Men. But for the benefit of the doubt, let's do it anyway.
We'll check out two of Spider-Man's most impressive strength feats. The first is the time he braced a private jet while it was landing. Look at him. He's literally the landing gear.
According to Spider-Man himself, the plane's total weight was at most 115,000 pounds. Adding the thrust from a Whittle W1 engine, which this small jet is most likely to have an engine comparable to, this feat comes out to 58 tons.
Not even close to Terry's 200. Then there was this one time where Spidey had to push way past his limits to lift what he offhandedly compared to as a locomotive. Since he could measure the plane, it's likely he's accurate here, but given the time period, that's still only 130 tons at most.
It's clear Terry had a pretty sizable physical advantage. And just because Terry's mind wasn't as fine-tuned as the original Batman's, didn't mean he's dumb.
Even more, Miguel never trained like Terry did. Hell, he never really had much formal training at all. But Terry was trained by ninjas, stealth artists, and other crime fighters to be a master in the battlefield. And since Miguel didn't have a spider sense, Terry just had to wait until the untrained future Spidey left an opening.
In short, while Miguel wasn't completely outmatched, Terry's superior strength, counseling, equipment, and training won the bout.
Turns out this Batman was beyond him.
The winner is Batman Beyond. Stick around, we're about to announce the
Hey, Wiz, you know what time it is? Things to...
This is the video I was talking about. The Battle Royale is called Vampire Batman vs. Zombie Spider-Man Crossover X. It does sort of count as a death battle, even though it's not from the same people, but it is a pretty good one, so I like it. But before we get to that, this is another Spider-Man versus a DC character, but this time it's Miles Morales versus Static Shock.
Your sponsor...
Throughout the Earth's... Throughout the Earths of Marvel and DC Comics, there are hundreds, no thousands of superheroes saving the day. But what if I told you there were even more across the multiverse?
Oh, great, as if we don't have enough to keep track of already.
Miles Morales, the Spider-Man of Marvel's Earth number 1610.
And Static, the electric genius from DC's Dakotaverse. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. At first glance, the world of Earth 1610 isn't so different from our own. But look closer and you'll find Coca-Soda instead of Coca-Cola, PDNY officers instead of NYPD.
And a hamburger and fries can cost 30,000 goddamn dollars.
But perhaps the greatest difference in this so-called Ultimate Universe was that Peter Parker, the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, was dead.
Enter Miles Morales. He was your typical kid from Brooklyn and didn't have much to worry about except his overbearing mom and dad. Hey kid, appreciate your folks while you have them. You never know when they're gonna pull a surprise Uncle Ben.
Well, Miles spent most of his time with his more laid-back Uncle Aaron, who turned out to be a secret supercriminal.
Totally relatable. Anyway, during one of his heists into a secret lab, Aaron accidentally scooped up a spider. The next time Miles visited, the spider got loose and, you know what happens.
This spider carried the genetic enhancing Oz formula. Yet another attempt to recreate Captain America's infamous super soldier serum. It had previously transformed Peter Parker into the first Spider-Man.
Wait a minute, who came up with the idea to store the super serum in a friggin' spider?
Scientists can be weird sometimes.
Maybe next time put it in something that can't walk away. It's got 8 legs. That's like 4 times more walking power.
Sure. Either way, with his new powers, Miles donned red and black to become the ultimate Spider-Man.
As the newest spider lad on the block, he does whatever a spider can. He's super strong, super fast, and has the overpowered super radar, the spider sense.
After meeting Peter's Aunt May, Miles took up the classic web shooters, complete with multiple types of long to short range webbing.
Yet another tool that would be perfect for snagging a beer from the fridge without leaving the couch.
Boomstick, he was a teenager.
Different universe, different drinking laws, right? And also, like Peter, he can stick to walls. You know, spider style.
Yes, like some spiders, Miles can control his body's interatomic attraction, essentially sticking to walls like a magnet. However, unlike Peter, this subatomic electron manipulation gave Miles a few extra moves of his own.
Yeah, the kid's got electric powers. He can zap people with a quick touch, fire off massive explosions, and even turn invisible. Wait, what's that got to do with shocking people?
This venom sting can even take out the Ultimate Universe's Electro, a being literally made of electricity. But Miles didn't just shock him, he disrupted Electro's own charge. Similar to a miswiring sending too much electricity in one direction and shorting out your computer when somebody forgot to plug it into the surge protector.
Wiz, you know I don't believe in protection for anything. It's going in raw.
Anyway,
Damn.
As the new Spider-Man, Miles obviously had a lot to live up to. After his Uncle Aaron died in front of him,
Ha! Told you somebody would pull a Ben.
Miles pushed past the heartache. He persisted, living up to Peter's ideals, and eventually stepped out of his shadow to be Spider-Man in a way only he could.
Oh yeah, what's up, Danger? He can blast apart a building-sized monster and survived being slammed around by the giant Cassie Lang. That's Ant-Man's daughter.
He's smart enough to hack military drones and quick enough to destroy an alien device in a microsecond. Essentially, he needed to open and close a portal in an impossibly short time frame to prevent an alien force from invading. It's a long story.
Point is, he's super fast. With his spider sense, he can react to things before they even happen. He's super tough, too. He even survived being caught in this giant super collider exploding.
Measuring the size of this hole using real-world maps of New York and solving for fragmentation, we know this explosion must have been equivalent to about 222 tons of TNT.
Sure, that's not technically canon to the comics, but guys, main series Spider-Man has done way crazier things. I mean, he has the same powers, and Miles has even beat the crap out of him. Classic Pete can bench press 130 tons, uses spider sense to dodge beams of light, and ripped apart Doc Ock's robo-arms, which once survived a 2-kiloton nuclear explosion. So I'd say the super collider feat checks out.
Unfortunately, Miles' electric powers can tire him out, and his spider sense does not protect him automatically, serving more as an alarm or proximity sensor.
But the youngins proved himself to be the best successor a Spider-Man could ever want, and more. He even got pulled into the main Marvel timeline when they blew up the Ultimate Universe. Miles Morales is truly one of the greats.
Don't wash the mouth. Wash the hands.
Despite growing up in the most crime-filled neighborhood of Dakota City, Virgil Hawkins was a pretty chill guy.
He spent his time playing D&D, reading comics, you know, typical nerd stuff. But he had one major problem, the classic sitcom bully. No teenage story is complete without it.
During school, he was frequently harassed by local gang leader Francis Stone. Virgil's only refuge was one of his few friends, Larry Wade.
Larry convinced Virgil there was only one way to get rid of Francis for good. Join his own gang and pack some heat. Things got, well, pretty intense, and Virgil wasn't having any of it. It was time to bail like DC Comics on their cinematic universe.
But the damage was already done. The police arrived and let loose a massive canister of what seemed to be tear gas, but wasn't.
Yeah, this great-looking mist was actually some experimental shit. It was supposed to tag each gang member so the cops could track them down later, but it was actually laced with radioactive quantum juice, which killed almost everybody. I hated when that happened.
Luckily, Virgil was one of the few who survived, but the quantum juice still had an effect.
You could say he was shocked to find out what it did.
Yes, he began to develop electromagnetic powers. Before this, Virgil always felt out of his league. But now he was in a league of his own and became the superhero Static.
I put a shock to your system.
Hell yeah! With these new powers, the guy was unstoppable. He could blow shit up with electric bolts quick as lightning, big explosion balls called Nova Bombs, and taser people with punches to the face.
Right, but he's not just good at shocking people. Static can alter the electron attraction of any object or surface. He can erect extremely durable electromagnetic force fields that block most attacks. He can even move metal around like a hip young Magneto.
And slip metal under his feet to take to the sky. His favorite ride is the Static Saucer, a giant frisbee that doubles as a shield and buzzsaw. Think about it. Don't you wish your car could literally cut through traffic?
Obviously, turning superhuman overnight caught Virgil a bit off guard. But after a few speed bumps, he became a well-regarded superhero throughout the city of Dakota, even teaming up with fellow heroes like Icon and Rocket.
Icon and Rocket? Come on, where's Batman and Wonder Woman?
Oh, I should mention that while Static is part of the DC Universe, he did not start there. See, Static was originally created by Milestone Comics, which eventually merged with DC. Their characters, including Static, existed in an alternate timeline known as the Dakotaverse. Then a guy named Dharma gained cosmic power and accidentally blew everything up, sending Static into the main DC timeline. It's really not too complicated.
Uh-huh.
I've actually been working on a device to peer into alternate timelines, but unfortunately it still needs...
What? Well now, old chap, what were we discussing but a moment ago?
Oh, shite, don't you know? Let's figure
What
out
the
who got wins a fatality kerfuffle.
Yes, I'm mad as hops. Let's begin, my fellow Ultracommodarian.
I regret everything.
I want to do it again.
No! I'm sure that's fine.
Well, no matter the universe,
I doubt
Static
that.
was always one-upping himself. He learned how to see ultraviolet light and how to make people glow. Wait, what's that got to do with shocking people?
That would be his ability to detect bioelectric auras. Static can also create power-draining plasma coils, disrupt the electrical impulses of others, and empower or heal himself by draining energy from outside sources.
He can literally reattach his severed arm with shock power. I'm not even joking. Look at this. Since when could electricity do that?
That's still surprising me. I didn't know he could reattach his limb.
He can
I
survive
doubt he could do that with his
building-sized
head.
kabooms, lift hundreds of tons, and once turned this huge chunk of ice into slush in just a couple seconds.
Based on the size of the ice and the required change in temperature for such a feat, Static must have output energy equal to 180 tons of TNT.
He's quick enough to intercept lasers confirmed to be beams of actual light, which is pretty darn fast.
And in the cartoon, he actually shoved some quantum juice in some lockers and launched them out of orbit. These are typical school lockers, which can weigh up to 30 pounds each.
And fit approximately one nerd.
To throw 3 of these into space, they need to be moving nearly 3,000 times faster than sound, requiring a throwing force equal to 4 kilotons of TNT.
Damn! Okay, sure, that's not canon to the comics, but his electromagnetism could play tug-of-war with Superboy's telekinesis, which can lift 4 million tons. I'm not sure Static can go that far, but if he's anywhere close, it's still higher than throwing some lockers around.
Though, despite Static's incredible power, insulators are his kryptonite, and he can run out of juice if he pushes himself too much.
But the guy's one of the coolest superheroes who rarely got his time to shine. Heck, he was good enough to join the Justice League. I think even Virgil himself was shocked to see how cool he really was.
Static shock!
Alright, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
But first, all this talking has made me hungry.
Let's get to the fight.
Whoa! Watch where you're aiming. I got places to be tomorrow. For real? You attack me! Well, I got more than one electric psychopath to keep track of, man. surprises, but so do I.
Wait, did his arm get sliced? It did! Holy shit! Wait, those websters exit.
All I gotta do is... What? Plasma coil. If you hadn't noticed, this electric biz is kind of my thing. Aw, man.
Oh man.
That was tough.
KO!
Could he just
Looks like
replace?
we're kicking off this year with a bang. Poor Miles, though.
Honestly, I'm surprised how this turned out. At first glance, Miles appeared to have a good chance at victory.
He was definitely physically stronger than Static. He would have totally won an arm wrestling contest.
But Virgil's overwhelming electric power put him at a level above the young Spider-Man.
Oh yeah. Overall, Static's feats were way above Spidey's, even when we scaled Miles to classic Peter Parker's biggest feat. Static definitely had the oomph to take Miles out, but Miles had no easy way to get around his force field.
The variety of techniques at Static's disposal also rent many of Spider-Man's abilities moot.
Like how Spidey's invisibility didn't matter when Static could light him up like a Christmas tree. And his speed was so similar to what the Spider Sense could give Miles that the Super Radar wasn't that big of a help. Remember, just because he knew an attack was coming didn't always mean he could dodge it in time.
And, well, shockingly, Static only needed to hit him once. See, his electromagnetic manipulation gave him control over Miles' wall crawling and other abilities. As soon as he got a hold of Miles' bioelectric aura, it was basically all over.
But hey, Miles and all the other Spider-Men fight Electro all the time, and they have no problem dealing with him. Why was Static any different?
Simply put, every iteration of Electro pales in comparison. He has no feats of power that come even close to Static, and frankly, he's an idiot. This was a fascinating matchup, but... oh no, not again!
Yay! Mr. Morales put up a jolly good show, and yet Mr. Hawkins had him outdone in breathtaking power, stalwart defense, and veritable versatility.
Oh, he was just miles ahead of him, don't you know?
The victor is Static.
Hey, thanks for checking out the premiere of Season 7 of Death Bat.
I was also watching this very Alright, so after I show you guys this video, I'll probably end the video here, but I'll probably make another event. This time it'll involve Deadpool versus Deathstroke, Pinkie Pie from that stupid or dumb My Little Pony or whatever, and also versus the Max. And then we got some Battle of the Bat in the Sun videos like Spider-Man versus Doc Maul, how Spider-Man wins in the alternative ending. Same thing for Batman 2099, Spider-Man 2099 versus Batman Beyond, and we got an alternative ending as well. There's also Watch Mojo Battle, but for this one we have to watch these two to make sense how Batman and Spider-Man got together, so it makes sense, so yep. Anyway, those are just videos I might make probably maybe tomorrow, just to give you guys the heads up as soon as I upload these two. Probably tomorrow. Anyway. And now we wind this back because I was watching this earlier today actually. Hope you guys do like these videos so far.
greatest things about fiction is seeing so many different interpretations of your favorite characters, even ones where they may not be the heroes they're usually known to be.
Didn't someone already take this match?
Shut up! This is opening time!
You will understand when you have bills to pay.
We do? That's why we took this job in the first place.
Just introduce the guys already.
Okay, fine. I'm Manny, and I'll be researching Vampire Batman of DC Earth 43.
I'm Chelsea, and I'll be researching Zombie Spider-Man of Marvel Earth 2419.
I am the Fight Analysis and Conclusion Tolerance Software, or FACS for short. I will be determining the victor with their research taken into account.
And I'm Rick Rucker. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is Battle Royale.
Hold on. So do I gotta go over the backstory everyone already knows again? Because, you know, technically we used this guy already.
Okay, you can skip it, but go over the rest of the details.
Cool. So, in an alternate universe, everything was perfectly normal. For Gotham City, at least. Until one night when Bruce Wayne was investigating a string of cutthroat murders. Only to eventually discover that the culprit wasn't exactly human. Long story short, Dracula exists in this DC universe.
Oh, so is this like that one movie no one
I
remembers?
actually have that movie, The Batman vs. Dracula. I
Touché.
But
actually
to
kind of
answer
like
your
it.
question, not exactly. One night while Bruce was asleep, this smoking hot vampire...
I did wonder, like,
named
which
Tanya
part of the
came into
Batman
room
TV
and
series that somehow
Tanya
had
used to be one
5
of
seasons,
Dracula's
but what part of the
followers on
season
social
of the Batman
romantic.
did it show
After
Batman
Bruce
vs.
woke
Count
up and discovered
Dracula?
his
Like,
new vampire powers, they
what part of the
agreed to team
season
up to
was
take
over when
Drac
the movie
down.
was made? Like,
Smoking hot
I
vampire
doubt it was
lady.
before
This
either
from
3rd,
someone who
4th, or
unironically
5th
likes
season,
Twilight
because
and
that means he would have
What?
had Batgirl
I
and
didn't tell you
Robin
that.
on
Who told
his
you that?
side.
It was in Facts Files.
Huh. It looks like I'm going to have to do something.
No.
You are lucky my defense system didn't have anything that would actually kill you.
Well, ow! Let's talk about Vampire Batman. Turns out being a vampire improved Bruce's physicality, gave him a natural sense of night vision and a sweet pair of wings. And when he gets hungry, the dude has canine teeth that's perfect for tearing through delicious human flesh. And for quick getaways, he can literally transform himself into mist.
Smoking's pretty bad for you, you know.
Smoking is bad for you, people. Don't ever smoke. Otherwise, that's your way you want to get
Of
cancer.
course, he's got no shortage of gadgets on him. He's still got his classic foldable batarangs, but now he's got a silver variant for dealing with other vampires. Plus, the man is packing throwable crosses with silver fitted inside them called vampire daggers. And even if all of that fails, then he can just get into others' minds and mess with them. Just like he did with Martian Manhunter, who's like a super psychic.
Of course, none of this matters if he's so weak against whoever he's fighting.
Fortunately for Bruce, turning vampire only enhanced his physique. He's strong enough now to snap people's necks with one hand.
And regular bats couldn't? I mean, you brought him up smashing trees and bricks as a human, so you're not exactly helping your case here.
Well, maybe not, but he's still a lot more brutal with his strength than regular Bruce is. Case in point, snapping Joker's neck with a simple bitch slap and decapitating Scarecrow.
So much for no killing. I like this new Batman.
He also laid a beat down on Catwoman after she turned into a weird werecat lady. Dodged oak bolts in a barrage of arrows, no sweat. Fought on par with Dracula, who's supposedly the strongest of the vampires. Got impaled by an oak bolt and just ripped it out of his chest to keep fighting. And on top of that, he still retains his smarts and detective skills that Batman is oh so famous for.
So basically he's Batman, but with no qualms about killing and crazy supernatural powers? Jeez, is there no way to stop him?
Don't get too ahead of yourself. He's weak to every standard vampire crippling tool, like sunlight, garlic, and holy water. He may be Batman, but even he follows his kind's common flaws.
Wait, what about a stake through the heart?
I fail to see how a stake through the heart being lethal is a vampire-exclusive feature.
Fair enough.
Actually, in this timeline, a stake through the heart just makes a vampire freeze, rendering them immobile until it's removed. It doesn't really kill them, but it makes him about as good as dead anyway.
But he's literally a vampire Batman. No amount of candy is going to prepare anyone for that.
Once upon a time, Peter was some nerd who got bitten by a radioactive spider, got superpowers, and his uncle died, and that motivated him to become a superhero. Okay? Okay. Well, within the Marvel Universe, or 2419 to be exact, the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man found himself teaming up with none other than Evil Dead's Ash Williams.
Ash? Now there's an ambitious crossover, Marvel. Who needs Infinity War?
Not everything was peachy for this crossover duo for too long. The two of them were teaming up to discover the source of a virus outbreak that was turning all your favorite heroes into flesh-hungry zombies. During which, Peter got bit by an infected Captain America, which then turned him into a zombie himself.
Man, Parker is just like the unluckiest guy at Marvel.
Unlike how zombies typically work in media, Peter didn't immediately go brain dead once he got infected. In fact, he still retained his traits and heroic personality, just at the expense of deteriorating. Too bad he ended up killing Aunt May and his girlfriend. Oops. Well, Uncle Ben will have company. From then on out, Peter vowed to still try his hardest to be a hero by only eating the flesh of bad guys or other undeads. Keyword being try, since, it's hard to go against instincts.
Okay, I feel for him and all, but his flesh is literally rotting off. That's a downgrade if I ever heard one.
The logic of comics disagrees with me. Even with an undead body, good old Pete still has the same super strength, wall crawling, and web shooting we all know from him. Plus a few extra benefits, let's put it. For one, his spider sense was given a new function, a zombie sense as it's been dubbed. Instead of sensing his surroundings, it senses the location of fresh meat, even through solid objects. I mean, this is one zombie you can't simply hide from. He doesn't even have to worry about running out of webbing either.
Because he developed new tech?
Since he learned how to use his own veins and arteries in its place.
That's just gross.
And very impractical if there's nothing wrong with his webs.
Using his veins does hurt him. A lot. Though it's still effective, as he can still support his weight while he's swinging around. And they even ripped off Quicksilver's head. Gross.
But wasn't he a zombie too? Might not be as glued together.
Yeah.
For the record, Quicksilver was only recently turned undead before this, meaning his body wasn't as badly deteriorated. Even then, we can assume he retained his standard abilities and physicality even in spite of his condition.
Mm-hmm. Though, yeah, the whole rotting flesh thing does make it a bit iffy to scale him to alive Peter's best feats, like supporting the weight of a locomotive. But he still tore off Vulture's arms and decapitated Electro in one fell swoop, after taking the latter's electric shock. He decimated a zombie Sinister Six in a matter of seconds, survived a gladiator ripping his torso in half, taking an explosion after getting hit by a flying car. And, get this,
Shoot.
once nearly everyone on the planet turned into zombies, guess who showed up? Galactus. The devourer of worlds. And when he showed up, all the zombie heroes wasted no time turning into that for a meal. And yes, Zombie Spider-Man was one of them.
However, we cannot simply assume Galactus was at his peak in this scenario. He arrived on Earth due to being hungry, likely meaning he wasn't as powerful as he normally is.
Yeah. Next thing you're gonna tell me is that he can survive ripping his own skin off.
Okay, Fags, you can take it down.
I hate zombies. But even I know the best way to kill a zombie is decapitation. So all Bruce has to do is rip that head off and he's done for. Plus, that hunger is gonna be really distracting for him, especially with how much it eats away at his soul. What's left of it, I guess.
Regardless, I'd say Peter has proven that not even death can keep a great hero down.
You know what they say? Great power comes a great hankering for some mind meat. I think that's how it goes, right?
Peter? It's me.
These were certainly interesting takes on two very iconic heroes. But as always, only one of them can come out of this alive. Or unalive, I guess. Is that the right way to say it? Yeah, whatever. Take a moment to collect your thoughts on who you think will win this Clash of the Undead.
Analysis and simulation complete. I have determined the most likely outcome and arranged a visual interpretation of their research.
And you know what that means? It's showtime!
Hunger. Can't contain it anymore. Still hungry. I'm sorry. Huh?
I won't be. It's showtime!
Incredibly painful. Beggars can't be choosers.
You're right here that I was expecting.
Poor choice of words.
Just a sentence without drives you crazy, doesn't it? If you want me, come and get me!
Now where'd he go? How many more parlor tricks have you got?
Maybe I'll fill you in after I feast.
Surprised you couldn't tell I'm past my due date. But you still seem pretty fresh. Ah!
I don't know what you are. Not need another monster! I will stop you and protect the innocent! So come out and face me!
You sound like me. Back before I became this. So let me tell you something right now. Play the part of a hero all you want. You know what you really are. Just like me. Monster. I'll at least do you one favor out of the goodness of my heart. I'll put you out of your misery. That fight sure worked up an appetite. Maybe I'll help myself.
Surprise!
KO!
What? How could this possibly happen? Deadliest Warrior said zombies get stomped by vampires any day of the week.
I doubt they factored superheroes into the equation. Speaking of which, facts?
Trick or treat, actually, only verdicts.
Just as good, depending on who you ask. Anyway, I know we brought up how these two should still be somewhat comparable to their original counterparts. Well, the thing is, it really wouldn't matter whether or not we scale. Regular Spider-Man has feats that naturally outlast Batman's, but, you know, that's a whole other debate. Kinda.
Yeah, but that wouldn't matter either. Vampats have so many abilities that he couldn't possibly keep up. Plus, vampires would naturally be stronger than zombies anyway. I think.
Manny, the best feat of strength you listed was snapping people's necks. The best one I listed was tearing into the flesh of f***ing Galactus. Galactus! It doesn't take a supercomputer to know who's got the edge.
Still, I am a supercomputer. Even without taking Galactus into account, Zombie Peter still had physical feats that dwarfed his opponents. vampire should be stronger than regular Batman is merely an assumption, the same as zombie being weaker than regular Spider-Man. In this instance, snapping Joker's neck would require 153 kilograms of force. Crushing a human skull, on the other hand, takes 235 kilograms of force. And Spidey did way more than just that to multiple zombies in just a couple of seconds. There's no questioning which is the superior feat.
Doesn't help that zombie Spider-Man completely beat him in the durability department. During his time in another Marvel universe, he survived a shot from Electro that carried through Doc Ock's tentacles. Electro had just stated before this that he was using as much electric charge as he could. The Electro from Earth 616, the Marvel main universe, has a maximum charge of 10 million volts, and there's not much reason to doubt that this Electro would have a similar capacity.
10 million? Doesn't the electric chair only do around, like, 2,000?
And Peter was still fighting. The human body malfunctions and shuts down around 2,000 volts of the electric chair, which side effects include burning skin, combustion, and melting eyeballs. Even with his rotting body, Spider-Man was barely phased by over 5,000 times that much, all at once. No way my darling little Batsy was going to keep it down. Add that in with him surviving being ripped in half by Zombie Gladiator and taking a huge car explosion, it's pretty clear who's got the better durability, especially when compared to coffins and bullets.
At this point, I'm afraid to ask. But what about speed? If Batman's faster, then he'd be able to avoid attacks with mist form and flight.
Bats might be able to keep pace with Dracula and dodge crossbows, but that's child's play compared to dodging beams from Galactus, blowing missiles out of the air with Power Cosmic, and tagging zombie Quicksilver with his artery webbing.
When scaling Earth 2149 Quicksilver's speeds to that of Earth 616, Quicksilver is a rather unfounded argument. It's worth noting that Quicksilver was credited as a major reason the zombie infection could spread around the world before containment efforts could be realized, infecting whole countries before moving to others with his speed. It's hard to argue that the feat of snagging him in momentum is anything below Vampire Batman's level.
Looking at how they would compare when bloodlusted by thirst and hunger respectively, Peter still has the upper hand. If we really want to be candid, he along with other Marvel zombies ate all known life in the Milky Way galaxy over time, so yeah.
As if that weren't enough, the zombie sense was more than enough to help Spidey keep tabs on Bruce's location during this fight, meaning that once the fight started, there was no way he was getting away unscathed. And would you look at that? He didn't.
I can't believe I skipped trick-or-treating for this.
At least it's better than getting a tube of toothpaste in your candy basket, right?
I might need one anyway after how gross this episode was.
Aw, don't be mad.
This matchup's been beaten to death anyway. I guess Peter really took a bite out of crime, and then some. The winner of this battle royale is Zombie Spider-Man.
If you guys liked the video, bye.